Right now, it's all digital because it's so new and that's what's working and what's used. We've already seen physical NFTs. Just, I think this was 2 years ago, the Austrian Post decided to do physical NFT stamps for their postal service. But these have Ethereum on them in a wallet with my own private key. And if I ever was in Austria and wanted to send postage to somebody, I could technically use one of these, and the actual postage would be on the blockchain as well.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Healthy Huddle. I have a very good friend of mine. His name is Yoeshi Roberts. Yoeshi, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the Healthy Huddle.
Absolutely. Yeah, today I wanted to have Yoeshi on. He's kind of been endeavoring in cryptocurrency, different coin bases. He has some things going on, wonderful things in NFT art that have kind of exploded this year and blossomed in a virtual creative art way for him. I know Yoeshi back in the day of music is how we first met, and doing some live shows and things of that nature. So, Yoeshi, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from and how you got to where you are today.
Well, we come from a very similar place. We both grew up here in Georgia and in the same circle somewhat, and definitely grew up around a lot of music. That was always my main focus. And then went to school for music. It was my first life journey, and it's still ongoing, essentially. From as long as I can remember, I've wanted to perform and use my voice and lyrics to kind of instill a message of how I'm feeling about myself and the world. And it's also been a way for me to kind of process some pretty deep emotions because I've always faced the struggle of being a pretty heavy empath. So it's always been a way
That's
for me to kind of dive deep.
Sure. And I mean, that's a pretty hard one. Empaths themselves, they feel a lot 24/7.
Oh
And
yeah, it can be taxing. So
yes,
I translated that into music as best as possible, and the world shifted me into learning cover songs so I could make some money, and so that's how I really got into gigging and kind of just always snuck me in every few songs, and eventually the covers became me as well, where people would say, I like your version, and like, so I found a love for it, but it was at first it was a very stubborn endeavor because I always just wanted to play my music for people. So long story short, the reason I don't gig still today is because after over a decade of playing cover gigs, as I called them, in the
hmm,
corner of a restaurant or bar where people's main focus is what they're eating in their company, and the music is kind of a secondary factor anyway. Like I started feeling like, first of all, I wasn't sharing my music. I was sharing what people wanted to hear because they recognized it.
yeah,
But it was also in an avenue where they weren't really even listening anyway. And it became very draining,
sure.
And so full circle, like the time it took to learn those cover sets and like get to the gigs and book the gigs and play the 4 hour sets that they for some reason wanted. Like even though in the real gig world that's not a thing,
Right.
like I just got really drained and really burnt out on it, but was never willing to fully give up. So spent most of my young adult career just gigging and trying to find a balance with that lifestyle and my health, and ended up meeting the love of my life pretty early. So that's like the summary of where I ended up into music, I guess. And the way it ended up falling into cryptocurrency is kind of a longer story. Well, there's still a whole in between, which was me going back to school for massage, because I wanted a backup as I started realizing that there might not be the type of momentum that I had been working towards for so long musically, at least not in the avenue that I was thinking in. And I needed to
Sure.
step away, to really kind
Yeah.
of revisit it at another time. But at the end of the day, I started thinking, what else could I do that's still true to me, that makes me feel good, where I'm using my hands to do something that makes a difference. And it translated into going back to massage school, because I realized not only would it be my hands, but also it's basically like little therapy sessions for some people. Like I really got to get to know human beings one-on-one. And on top of that, as much as it's kind of faux pas, some of my closest clients that were return clients saw who I was as an empath and started talking to me,
Gotcha.
and like I was just a good listener and had enough, I guess, life experience to respond in a way that was healthy for them. And the only reason that really ended was because of COVID. My like right before COVID, my job that I had been at for 5 years just closed the whole spa, just let us all go. But to about a year before all of that, I had a friend tell me about Bitcoin, and I was only kind of interested. I didn't get it. And I learned what I needed to learn to feel comfortable throwing at the time, $50 that felt like a huge investment, like into Litecoin. And so I first got hooked just by timing, because I put $50 in and like a week later it was like $200, because I caught that 2017 end of the year bull run.
Right.
And then got thrown into a couple of, long story short, community management type opportunities with different up and coming projects that all failed. Basically, because it was a bear market.
You
Um,
live and you learn, and you got to start somewhere, right?
yeah, but I got a lot of experience being in like community forums and channels and working with people around the world. And over time, really getting to kind of tie in my love for people and my understanding of like, mind, body, spirit in a sense, to like dive deeper than what's on the screen.
Sure.
So like I got good at connecting with people, even though I only know their avatar and their nickname.
With
You know?
real quick, Yoshi. So like that's, I mean, that's pretty interesting, that road and and the travel that you made from the massage therapy and kind of like a mediator, um, psychologist, something's kind of going on there for you with people. Describe to us a little bit about like the channel that you've created, and maybe some of those connections that you made over different blogs, and how you've created this kind of seamless network of kind of some guide giving and educational stuff for some of your coins. Tell us a little bit about that.
And essentially, all of that channel experience, when I found Tezos, which was like love at first sight with technology. I don't know how else to put it. It was like I just got it. It made sense to me after being screwed over several times by other blockchain technologies that were trying to be something different than Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I saw Tezos and really started diving into it, it seemed like a genuine solution to everything that I had faced as an obstacle. So I started really diving deep and seeing it as an opportunity to become embedded in a community that is global, decentralized, and passionate, about the right parts about blockchain technology. So where I wanted to fall full circle on that absolutely is, the idea that this past year, I think it was February, Hiket Nunc, which has become one of the world's leading NFT marketplaces. It was just, I was right there in the forefront of the community because I had created a channel called Quip Talk, which was basically focused on answering questions to anybody coming into the ecosystem.
Mhm.
A lot of these developers that were just starting to think about what they wanted to build on Tezos, whether it be NFT exchange or a DeFi token with a product. There are all sorts of things that were just starting to be thought up. And I was right there with one of the lead channels where people go to ask questions. This one guy named Raphael, he had I didn't know his name at the time. It was just Hicketnuke 2000. What is this new Twitter handle? He asked me a question. I go to this rudimentary site with like barely any user interface, and I get so excited because I can tell that like he's asking me to mint my art and like test it.
Right.
So I did, and I
Was
literally
that your first? Was that your first endeavor here with the NFT
with the
art?
NFTs. Absolutely, I had nothing. I had no idea what they were even, like, because I don't pay attention to Ethereum from day one. I've always kind of secretly hated the underlying aspects of what it is doing to the industry.
Sure.
And on my screen back here is actually a full production I'm spending months on to basically, it's called ETH Beef. And it's a whole production song. It's going to have music, a music video done by a co-artist that I found. And it's going to be this like kind of like anthem to cry out and be like, hey, look, this is what the problem is. I need y'all to hear it, because
Sure.
I see it as a big
I
problem.
love it. I mean, music is a great way. You start off in music, right? And you're able to use that to share a message.
Absolutely. So kind of going back to that, it was like I minted that first NFT, not even knowing what I was doing to help him figure out if his site was working, essentially.
What a great ability to be able to build while testing, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. So I was there like minting with John, who's like a famous CGI artist now on Tezos that like
Uh-huh.
I just kick myself every day because I literally watched him mint his Genesis NFT, selling now for like $10,000, and just watched the basically digital renaissance happen in front of my eyes. Like people still don't understand because it's not in the real realm. But like what happened this past year in my world
Hmm.
is going to go down in history and be learned about by the real world someday soon. Because NFTs on Tezos went from zero to like a million pieces of art minted around the world.
In one sense, wouldn't you agree, Yoshi? It may not be a tangible token and it may not be a tangible piece of art, but as far as an artist, another creator's concerned, but in another sense, it's just another piece of clay. It's another art tablet, it's another pen, another
Absolutely.
music
It's
note.
it's a different way of creating something from nothing. And we have been given these really cool tools and like apps and tricks, but I still feel just as passionate and in love with what I'm making, regardless of if it's on an acoustic guitar and just using my voice and a pen and paper, or sometimes it even feels more creative to take all of these bizarre elements and put them into one
Digitally.
creation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always see right now it's all digital because it's so new and that's what's working and what's used. But at the end of the day, I mean, we've already seen physical NFTs.
Mhm.
Just I think this was 2 years ago, the Austrian Post decided to do physical NFT stamps for their postal service. And that's what these are. They're unused because I just collected them. But these have Ethereum on them in a wallet with my own private key. And if I ever was in Austria and wanted to send postage to somebody, I could technically use one of these, and the actual postage would be on the blockchain as well. And then this
Huh.
is a very early hen NFT from a friend of mine that is a photographer.
From the
I
eclipse.
bought it from him, and he made a 1/1 print of it. And on the back of it is a QR code where it shows you the actual
Right.
NFT on blockchain.
So
Yeah.
let me ask another question, and just to do a preface for the show here, Yoshi's going to come back on. We're going to do some different four-part series at another time. We can't go as far as we'd like to today, but um, a topic on the NFTs for everybody else to understand. Yoshi might be able to dive into this with me real quick. Think about it as a digital 3D printer for certain items that you want to use over and over again to where somebody can't take it away.
Mhm.
It could be in a game. You've seen this where a lot of kids, a lot of parents probably hate it. They're spending so much money inside of like a Fortnite or a Roblox game or something like that. And because of the skins, you kind of can never take those with you. If you quit playing the game, they're gone. With these
Yeah,
new
that's
forms of
that's what
art.
we call. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
you got me on it already because that's what we call in our space the real scam. Because at the end of the day, that's money being thrown into a pot that is not yours and will never be yours.
Right.
Where if you tokenize it essentially and put it on a blockchain, when you buy that skin, you get to use it in the game, but it's also represented outside of the game in a wallet as a asset. So that if some other gamer wants it and they really want it, they'll offer you more for it, and then it becomes a profitable asset.
Right.
or you just keep it and hold it and keep using it because you love it, and nobody can ever take it from you, as you said. And a subject that I know is going to get brought up in your questions is what about the economics? What about the effect on the environment? And again, that's one of the reasons I will eventually go on a tangent with you about Ethereum,
Right.
uh, because I do think there's
This
a
is
lot of
why
problems.
Yoshi's not liking what's his name there with the Ethereum coin.
Yeah, I mean, I have no like personal like hate or anything like that. I don't think it's really intentional, but I do say in the song, it's like if you're making enough money, cognitive dissonance is going to keep you from seeing the problems.
Yeah.
And it's an inevitable problem with human nature. But at the end of the day, I don't see Ethereum as a um, long-term viable option unless they really shift power and really commit on ETH 2.0 and then some.
Gotcha.
Um,
And because
it needs,
they also are taking a lot of energy to do the transactions, right? Comparatively speaking.
that's the biggest argument. Besides people that just say it's a scam because they don't like it or don't understand it, the real issue there is energy consumption, in my opinion. Yeah, so it was that was like when it all came full circle was basically seeing that account, testing what an NFT was, and realizing how for a decade, not only have I been doing music, but I've been dabbling in graphic design to promote my music, and because I'm an artist at heart, I like making stuff.
You're a creator, yeah.
Yeah, so like if I can make something from nothing and my brain sees it, I'm going to try to do that, you know. So I've been into photography, and then I started taking my photography and making like weird creations out of it on Photoshop,
Yeah.
and then I got into making mandalas, and then it just kind of all spiraled. And I saw this and it was just like this huge aha, holy crap, my whole life of building has been towards this moment. So I spent all of 2020 just binge creating,
Hmm.
doing what's called shilling, you know, basically marketing my art and music on Twitter to other NFT people,
Creators, yeah.
you know, other creators, other
Mentors.
investors, other blockchains. With Tezos, it's more like a dividend share, like you hold the asset and you receive staking share,
Yeah.
and it's at
Understood.
a set rate for every holder based on how much they have, and then on top of that there are newer features within the DeFi realm where you can create massive APR, where you basically provide liquidity to this project so that it can function and build what it wants, and you get share of their fees, et cetera, et cetera. And it gets really kind of down the rabbit hole of
I mean,
ways.
it's amazing that we have these opportunities. Some days, I remember like getting into coding back in the 80s and I guess 90s, and then some of the website Flash stuff, and then now YouTube and how you triangulate everything into this marketing
Yeah,
spider web. I think it's phenomenal. It's wonderful technology, but it's a lot. And I think a lot of
it is a
people
lot.
it's
It
I
can
think a lot of
really
people are
be
just kind of
overwhelming.
overwhelmed, and I can't wait for us to dive down a little bit deeper into these different sessions with you.
At the end of the day, it's like if you want to really understand a new emerging technology that is, it's not going anywhere. There are certain projects are going to fail, of course. You know, like if you look at the 90s and the internet, you know, it's like everybody's like the whole thing is a bubble, it's a scam, but you know, it's still here, very relevant. You know, there were a
Oh,
lot of
very
failed
much.
projects, but I see, you know, Bitcoin essentially as like the Windows or the PC or the in general, you know, Microsoft, I guess you could say, you know, like, and then I see Ethereum is like trying to be more like the Mac, but it's failing at it epically, because it is not user friendly. It's for the rich at this point, like to put it bluntly. It's like unless you have stupid money to throw around, you cannot use Ethereum.
Gotcha.
So if you really want to learn and experiment at a low cost and a low impact to the environment, you can play on Tezos all day for dollars. And every interaction with the blockchain is essentially like the energy cost of a tweet. You
Right.
know, it's very nominal in that sense.
And so
Um,
Like Yoshi, where could people find the Tezos coins that you've made, the butterfly sets or any of the new art and music?
So my NFTs are all housed cleanly and organized on object.com because it's become like a hub where they have their own place to create and tokenize and mint, as we call it.
Sure.
But you also see Hicket Nunk NFTs and any of the other sites that are letting you mint are now getting integrated onto object.com. It's
Object.com.
spelled OBJKT.
Okay, we're going to put that one up on the screen for everybody, but everybody check that one out on their time when they get a chance. And then also, Yoshi, any contact information or any other references to some of your music that you'd like to share with the group and the team? Okay.
At the moment, I do have a link tree, and I put the time in to really kind of have it represent all the different branches of Yoshi Labs. So I tried to play with it for what it is and
Sure.
make it really something. So it's just linktree/Yoshi. And there you can find a link to my Tesla flies, which you want me to talk about that for a second. That was one of those magical, accidental, passionate moments that just took off. Earlier in the year, when profile picture PFP NFTs started taking off,
Hmm.
Tezards is the first big, what we call
Tezos.
blue chip NFT project on Tezos. They're still trading for thousands, daily volume in like the tens of thousands easy. Like these things are traded like a viable asset at this point.
Hmm.
And it's really good art. They're really fun, and those are what's called generative, which is what the big thing is right now in NFT world, and probably will continue being a big thing. It's helping vector artists actually create a lucrative business right now. You can now just make a really, really cool logo idea that is relevant and makes a statement like any piece of art, and make a series of it where it has like the golden edition, the silver edition, and depending on how you structure it, it can be a scam. There are some people out there that are just taking advantage of the fact that people are buying a lot right now.
Yeah.
But you can also create a really cool, like little like economy within your business, and that's what I did with my Burr token, for instance. I created my own actual token that's not art. And I basically, for me, it's become kind of a tithing system, ironically, where I basically
Oh.
like give it to my supporters through farms and stuff.
Hmm.
And as a way to kind of show gratitude and kind of keep building a community.
I like that. It's like
Yeah.
self reinvestment in the group and in the team.
Because if anything, what I would love to do is put something out there that is donation based that actually offers value.
Sure.
And just trust that there will be enough people that donate to make up for the people that kind of mooch.
Would love to.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Would love to. As the Healthy Huddle is concerned, as a health show, we wanted to dive in a little bit about maybe a modality, a frame of mind, something with your psyche or your diet. What did you do through this long journey, this amazing journey that you've had from music to art and digital life here? What kept you going? What was a big motivator? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I gotta say the motivator underlying is to just not fit into a box and live my life. And no matter how many struggles I go through, it's gonna create a true, like meaningful story. And at the end of my life, I want it to be a story that inspires people. And that takes balance. Any good story is going to have ups and downs, and sidelines, even where it just kind of nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And
Goals.
so like what's interesting is that every single thing I've ever done, whether it's music, massage, crypto, it's always this. It's the swaying back and forth between that center. And so like it's just always been a piece of me. Like when I was 18 years old, I got a tattoo of a yin and yang with a treble clef splitting it in half, because I felt like music was always going to be what brings me back to my center. And I mean, probably just from this episode alone, I think most people would see that that's kind of my main focus, no matter what kind of tangents I go on to try to survive and make meaning, like it always
Always gonna
comes.
be music.
Yeah.
Always gonna be music. That's where your heart is.
Yeah.
I'll never forget meeting you and seeing that in there. Yeah, and so and you've got the necklace on. What is that there?
It's wire wrapped with, I believe, onyx and quartz.
Oh,
And it's basically just the perfect yin and yang statement to just remind me every day that I need to stop and breathe and like really just stay grateful, because like I was telling you earlier, like I'm living this almost exclusively metaverse style life right now, where like I sometimes forget to eat, like so like it really is important for me moving into this year to kind of like
sure.
step back
It's
a
a
little bit.
good staple to kind of remind yourself of balance, right?
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
I mean, that's huge. And everybody who's listening, you know what? We all have seasons of imbalance, and the best you can do is um, find out that it's going on first of all, and then do your best corrective actions. And if there's anybody around you to help make you, help allow you to make those
Stay
self-corrective actions.
humble, ask for help,
Yeah,
tell people what you're going through. I mean, like I would never take it back, and I want to live that by example. It's like share what you're going through, especially with people that you actually know give a shit. It'll help you work it out. And
same.
you were there for me. 2019, you were right there. Saw me kind of go through a downward spiral, almost to homelessness, quite literally. And I
Well,
appreciate
I know meeting you from a time, gosh, what was that, Yoshi? Was that 2011 or was it 2012? The old
it was building up
Lollapalooza
2012. Yeah.
2012? I just remember meeting you and Brittany and seeing something really bright. And I can't explain anything else. And that's just the way it'll be until time's up.
Yeah, that's the other part of the balance that I would definitely not want to forget to mention, is that like I don't think I would have been able to live this life as long as I have and struggle through it to this point without finding the yang to my yin. Like, and she is a complete balancing aspect for me, like because I'm um so emotional in so many ways. She's very much like, she is emotional but in
Killer.
a way,
Yeah.
and like really knows how to like bring me back, and like, hey, like you don't need to dive that deep down the rabbit hole, like
Is it like a good buffer?
yeah.
So, well, Yoshi, thank you so much for the time. We cannot wait to dive in deeper into your Tezo flies. Everybody's going to check out the links we're going to put up on the screen right now and in the bio. So please check those out. Very informative information. We're also going to put up one of the blogs that Yoshi started here for you. But thank you so much, and we cannot wait to see more next time on our 4-part series.
Appreciate you having me.
Yoshi, make it a great day,
Wow.
sir.
You too, bro.
Hey everyone, thank you again for stopping by the Healthy Huddle. If you enjoyed any information, check out kogardens.com for any nutrition. Have a great day.